I don't think enough people talk about how hard it is to let go of the identity or habits or way of operating that you had or that you used to get you to where you are, especially when you're in the middle and you've tried to start healing and moving differently. And maybe you've experienced burnout and you realize you have to move differently, or you've experienced something in life that has said, enough is enough. It's time to find another way. But I don't think enough people talk about how hard that really is or can be. Hi, I'm Sonia, and as I always say, I am actively learning to move before I'm ready and to stay in the discomfort when it starts to get hard just a little bit longer. And if you are on this journey too, as always, I welcome you. Um, I think there are a few things that sparked my desire to record this video specifically. One was I was watching a reel and the girl had said she was dating someone, um, and she was suggesting that he should go to therapy. And he's like, no, I don't want to lose my edge. And she kind of talked about how that is a very valid and a very real fear. Because when you do start to go to therapy or you start personal development work or you start to heal, or kind of like I said, life has given you some sort of indication that you need to find another way, you might start to question or lose the exact beliefs, habits, or identities that got you to exactly where you are. And you might start to realize that you have been operating from a place of survival or from inauthenticity, or from a place that is not fueled by like worth and deservingness and love. I'll say it to say it a lot softer. And that realization can be very heavy. And then it's very difficult to then let go of, I guess, the foundation that got you there. Because while it's possible to build a new foundation, the thought of that can be terrifying. And if it's requiring you to move in a different way and to do things the exact opposite way that you have your entire life, like, you know, I don't think you can believe it. I'll speak for myself. Like for the longest time, I didn't believe that it was true or that it was possible. So that was the first thing that sparked it. And the other one was actually just that, like a very personal realization. And two examples come to mind. One, when I was talking about work and a friend of mine had said to me, he's like, why don't you just like show up, do what you need to do and like go on time? And I literally looked at him and said, what, you want me to be mediocre? And as someone that had built her career and her identity as a, top performer, as someone that always gets it done, that is the glue that keeps things together, and that was so naturally used to overperforming and overgiving, the thought of like just doing what I needed to do felt like failure, and it felt like mediocrity, and it felt like unfathomable. That's hard to say for me to imagine. And then the other realization I had recently when I was talking to a friend of mine that's a coach, where I, have now come to the realization that I want to move differently and I don't want to overgive or be hyper independent or be a people pleaser. And I've done so much work to move differently and to establish boundaries. But then when it comes towards like that belief and moving in a different way, when I try to move towards a goal or achieve an outcome, like it feels so foreign. And I literally was like, I don't know how that looks. Like, I don't know how to not have a detailed plan or have a routine or have a list or, to continue acting and moving and trying new things. And so it's been a journey to kind of bridge those two worlds. And also, and I think a lot of people talk about this, and I don't necessarily have the answer, but it's like, how do you find the balance between that like discipline and action and drive, and then also leaving space for rest and joy and creativity and expression? And how do you come to start to, I guess, move in a way where you're not abandoning yourself, but you're still able to achieve what it is that you want to achieve and move forward in a way that you want to move forward, not the way that you've been taught to, or not the way that you think you need to survive. And it reminds me of another video where the gentleman was saying, like, we've over optimized our entire lives. Like, everything we do is how to hack productivity, how to move more efficiently, how to optimize our sleep routines, our workout routines, our supplements, our nutrition. Like, everything is about doing something better. And I had another conversation where, again, like, I've fallen into that energy and that hustle culture and that kind of like always strive for more, always do it better, continuous improvement, even, I guess you can say. And I think, it's like two things can be true. It can be a very beautiful, motivating thing. And if it's coming from a good place and a place of kind of love, and you're not burning the candle at both ends, as they say, it can be helpful. But also, we're not machines. We're not broken. Like, there's nothing that you actually need to fix. And if you live your life a little slower, and maybe, as I look outside and it's like a gorgeous blue sky, sunny day, like, stay outside and enjoy the sunshine, or have, ice cream while sitting at the beach, or like looking at the water, or you just nap, watch a movie, like, do something just for you that has no outcome or no result. The sky is not going to fall. And you don't have to optimize rest, and you don't have to set timers. Like, you can take an hour a day, a week, move a little slower. And in the grand scheme of things, it'll probably actually make you better prepared and primed to move forward and to achieve your goals, versus if you keep moving forward from this place of like lack and survival and drive. Because sometimes we move so quickly and so aggressively, and we refuse to slow down because we're afraid to face what's on the other side of that slowdown. We're afraid to face what's actually fueling us to move forward, and to maybe see the rejection or the abandonment or the lack of worth that we have in ourselves. And if I've learned anything, it's that these patterns and these wounds are sometimes so deep and subconscious that it takes a very long time for you to actually uncover them and see them, and then also kind of go through the process of grieving that that's how you've been operating, and learning to move from a different place. And, I was reading about true self-worth, and that it doesn't come from an egoic place, and it doesn't come from a place of like thinking that you're doing everything right or doing everything better. It's really more so an acceptance of like where you are, and that what you are doing, whether it's a lot or a little, is enough. And I think that that's been such an important lesson, and it's such a more powerful way to live and move through the world if you are fueled by the belief of like, things can be good, and I can achieve goals, or I can accept myself, or I can love myself even when things aren't going well. And that was probably the most powerful realization I have had in a very long time. And it happened this week, where if you ask me, like, have I achieved all my goals? No. Am I exactly where I want to be? No. Do I have my dream, like, community, relationships, career, everything figured out? Definitely not. But I sat and I was talking to my friend, and I had this like expansive feeling come over me, learning to operate from like this place of thriving versus surviving, and this place of acceptance and love versus rejection and abandonment for myself, like everyone else outside of this. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? Life is actually very good. Like objectively, I'm actually very happy. And as I talk about this, I think that that's where some of these practices around gratitude and slowing down and rest and like adjusting your mindset to what is working, like this is what they're trying to get you into a place where you realize that even though you might not have everything you ever wanted and your dreams haven't come true, and there are areas in your life like all of us that can improve and could be better, like you still deserve to be happy and to feel good. And honestly, I think that's too what some other like cultures can really teach us, you know? I've often heard people question like how someone with less could be so much happier and feel so much more joy and just like, skip through life or smile or find beauty in the simplest of things and moments. And I think that's what it is. It's like life isn't perfect, but the things that are beautiful are beautiful. And I'm here and I get to try and I get to grow and I get to learn. And that in itself is part of the journey. And it's funny because I think I'm starting to feel so much more content and happy and confident in myself as I've shifted from achievement and the external markers of success and validation and moved away from needing to have life look a certain way to being happy with the way life is looking and knowing that I'm living it in a way that allows me to also experience play and joy and happiness, and that's authentic to me. And I think a big part of this is trying to really identify like what it is that you really want, not what you've been told you want, you know? And I talked about this in my last video when it comes to a certain physique, like I respect a fit and gorgeous physique, but do I want to have the lifestyle that's required to maintain it and build it? No, I want the lifestyle in which I move and I eat and I nourish and I'm healthy, but I also have room and capacity for other things. Sometimes I see videos of people traveling everywhere and going out and staying out super late. I'm like, oh, I want that. But really, what I want is connection and community and opportunities to, dance and experience joy. But I also love an early bedtime and I love having a stable place to lay my head down at night. So it's about finding the version of life and adventure and experience that you actually want and that works for you as a person versus what you see in others. And, it's always important if we do get ourselves into the comparison trap to realize like you don't actually know what's going on in that person's internal world. And some people could genuinely be thriving and happy and not have a care in the world. And that is beautiful, but oftentimes what you see is not a reflection of that person's inner world. And that's why it's like comparison is a really dangerous game to play. So if you just focus in on you and what makes you happy and on building a life that may look different from someone else's and different on paper, but feels really good for you, I honestly think that that's the secret. Yeah. And I think that's where we'll stop today. So if you are someone that ties their worth to performance and to output and to goals, and you're just always kind of moving, maybe just try to slow down, one day. Maybe take 2 minutes every day and just kind of close your eyes, let the world around you stop, put on a timer if you need to, and just allow yourself to be for a moment. And maybe 2 minutes will turn into 10. And maybe then you'll start to hear insights and your inner voice and some guidance on where you really want to go. I'll leave you with that today. Have a gorgeous day, and we'll talk soon.